What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic. And when it comes to Marvel and Star Wars, I've said many times that I think the fall off of those franchises will be studied in years to come. And people just asking the question, how did you fumble the bag of this so hard, given that these were layups that you could have probably in perpetuity printed money off of almost just the toys alone before you even start talking about the movies and quality of movies and shows being produced? And it seems now we are back to where Disney may have started before they bought Marvel and Star Wars, where they're now saying that they have a boy problem. That could have been worded differently, I think. And Variety's even talking about this. Now, I don't think this is going to come as a shock to most people in the audience, but we're going to read through this article, get some thoughts on it, because I am very curious as to some of the reasoning, what they have to say here in this article. So the article here again is Variety. It says, Disney's boy trouble. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. I thought Marvel and Lucasfilm were the best they've ever been, though. That's what people have been telling me all over social media. Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the only ones looking for a prince. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months, multiple sources tell Variety, for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men is defined here by sources as ages 13 to 28, aka Gen Z. First, duh. Even Variety. Every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are a lonely, gaming-obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns. I always hate when they use this. They'll immediately go to talk about Gen Z, about lonely and gaming obsessed. It's not the fact that they don't want like a relationship with women or they don't want to do other things. You are simply talking about a generation of men who have been demonized their entire life, been told they're the problem, and then I can only imagine the dating sphere nowadays. I'm very glad that I've been married for a long time and don't have to deal with that. And a lot of these men just decide, I'm checking out. I'll go play some video games. I'll hang out with my friends. But I don't want to deal with all of this stuff out here. I don't want to be told that I am the problem of everything out there in the world. And then yet you have movie studios here that still don't know the issue with this. And you have all these movies and shows that back up that message as well. Like you can tell in this article, they still don't understand why they can't reach this group of men. I would maybe suggest go either ask them or actually talk to men about how they would like to be talked to. I'm guessing a lot of this is them going to focus groups that are ran probably by women. I have seen this in real life, by the way, where you have women in charge of how to reach men. Now, there are scenarios where women can reach men very easily, obviously. I mean,
what's your blood type?
Oh, negative. Universal donor.
Universal donor.
but if you're talking about reaching men on a level of what interests them, you probably need to have some men or other people around their same age trying to see what are their interests, what are they into, and not just sitting on the sidelines trying to guess as to why these men are not interested in the things that you're presenting them. It's not really that difficult, if I'm being quite honest. Not the easiest segment to grasp. I would argue differently, but okay. But what's surprising producers, writers, and other partners in the larger industry is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to the movies. Oh my goodness, we are back to original concepts.
I got no place else to go.
It's almost as if Disney was built on this, and not just the superhero genre or just all the remakes in the world you can make. And obviously, they're kind of getting to the end of the barrel when you're talking about live-action remakes. I mean, they've ran through a gauntlet of those. There's only so many left to do. They're already doing Moana. They're doing newer animated movies as live-action remakes now. So you've basically kind of made all of those that you, for the most part, can make in the long term, I would say. This is the same Disney whose multi-billion-dollar content engines, Marvel and Lucasfilm, have sated men of all ages almost 2 decades since the company acquired them. I wonder what happened with those IPs. The sources say Disney has been seeking new IP and pitches such as splashy global adventures and treasure hunts, as well as a seasonal fare like films for the Halloween corridor. I have been saying this for years. And I don't think I'm the only one here. I'm not some genius. I'm just a guy in a spare bedroom talking in front of a camera. One of my favorite movies of all time is National Treasure. It is a fun movie with, a good message, but it's just an adventure you go on. These are the types of movies that made Disney into what they were in many ways. These family-friendly, lighthearted, fun movies. And treasure hunt movies, yeah, I'm on board. If you can make National Treasure-type movies, I'm in with that, as I feel a lot of other men would be as well. And I think what happened with Disney is they got addicted to the superhero genre. Marvel started making $1 billion, and everything went toward the tent poles of the superhero movies. And now that is waning out, and they're seeing really the only time that they're striking success at the box office is pretty much family-friendly films outside of Deadpool, Wolverine. Lilo and Stitch hit $1 billion. Inside Out 2 hit $1 billion. Moana 2 hit $1 billion. I think we're definitely at the end of the superhero genre. And that's before you even get to Star Wars, which has been so completely turned upside down and inside out. It's just, I don't even know where you start trying to figure. It's like a house that caught fire. I don't even know where you even start trying to go through the rubble of that mess. But it's very similar to Marvel as well. While two insiders say that the mandate to recruit young males goes as high as the C-suite, the task primarily has fallen on David Greenbaum, the former Searchlight Pictures co-head brought on in 2024 to run Disney's live-action film business. That label has been sorely lacking in guy-leaning fare, like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise for nearly 10 years. Studio insiders say the property is in active development, though not in its last reported iteration involving Margot Robbie.
What in the hell was that all about?
Well, apparently they figured out right away that was not going to do well. I'm somewhat shocked they didn't end up making that movie. I mean, it would have lost a ton of money, but I'm actually kind of shocked they had the restraint not to make that movie. To say nothing of the lackluster attempt to reboot and hand off Indiana Jones in 2023, which earned $383 million worldwide on a $300 million budget before marketing costs, a Disney source says that movies for Gen Z men are part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. Greenbaum recently hired Daria Sircik, the savvy former Paramount Pictures co-chief, to assist in this effort. Greenbaum is beloved by talent but has largely existed in the prestige indie sphere, while Sircik shepherded films from franchises like Sonic the Hedgehog, A Quiet Place, and Smile. Some think the push for this demographic is simply Greenbaum trying to put his stamp on live action, yet numerous power players who spoke with Variety see something ominous in the tea leaves. When the execution is correct, Disney's sweet spot at the movies has been millennials. That generation rapidly consumed classic vault titles like The Lion King, 101 Dalmatians, and Lilo and Stitch as kids. And now they bring their children in droves to see live-action reboots. This year's billion-dollar grosser Lilo and Stitch over-indexed with men and boys, Disney previously said. Gen Z is a different story. Built-in interest is not nearly as guaranteed for such an audience, which propelled Warner Brothers, a Minecraft movie, to nearly $1 billion haul. That was a game Gen Z played as very small kids, not to mention the euphoric viral moments it created for young men, filming key moments inside multiplexes and sharing them on platforms like TikTok. I think this is the beginning, and I've said this for a while as well. Disney does not have a stranglehold on the kid demographic like they used to. And I think Gen Z is the first demographic you're really starting to see that. They didn't grow up with The Lion King and Aladdin and Toy Story and all these, and when Disney had its renaissance of animated movies, that was when I was a kid. They have not had that for Gen Z. So therefore, you have the millennials who do pass on those for the live action remakes to their kids. But Gen Z doesn't have that. They don't have a nostalgia for Disney. To them, Disney is just another movie studio out there. They don't have any allegiance to it. If something is good, they'll probably watch it. I'm sure a lot of them watched Marvel and some iterations Star Wars. But they don't have this, I grew up as a Disney kid. And I think this is the first thing you're seeing of this really starting to take hold. And this is not going to get, in my opinion, it's not going to get any better for Disney because it's not changing going into the future. Because you look at right now, I mean, kids are into a lot of things outside of Disney. I mean, my kids are under 10 years old and they like some Disney stuff, but they're nuts about K-pop Demon Hunters, Minecraft, shows that they can watch on YouTube, Sonic the Hedgehog. My son is massively into Sonic the Hedgehog. And there's really no like, oh, we have to watch this. And they enjoy some of the Disney stuff out there, but it doesn't rank above a lot of the other options that are out there. And I think this is the first time we're really starting to see this emerge, at least in my opinion. As it stands, Disney is in line with Sony Pictures and Paramount in its market share for Gen Z. It says 10% of ticket buyers in 2024. That's 2 points above Universal and 2 points below Warner's. But Disney is not leaving the job of courting Gen Z entirely up to the film group. Concurrent to Greenbaum's hire, the corporation bought a $1.5 billion equity stake in gaming juggernaut Fortnite, which will incorporate Disney's iconic stable of characters. Two sources say Disney does not, however, enjoy movie rights to Fortnite itself, which would seem a no-brainer in luring Gen Z to theaters. I have no idea how you would do a Fortnite movie, considering, Fortnite's actually a very good game in terms of it stays relevant. They're always updating it with new things. Like, it's fun. Like, I get why, I play it with my kids sometimes. That game is basically an IP hub. You just have tons of different skins from different IPs out there. There's no real story to Fortnite necessarily. So, I'm not saying you couldn't, because I didn't really know how you would do a Minecraft movie, but I think a Fortnite movie would be a little difficult to pull off, considering a lot of Fortnite's popularity is from the skins that you can buy in the shop and play in the game. You can play as you can play as Darth Vader. You can play as Marvel characters. You can play as a whole slew of different characters in that game. So I think that gives a little bit of an issue there to making Fortnite into a movie. Yes, Disney was the unrefuted king of the box office last year. It will win again this year, with two films potentially crossing the $1 billion mark: Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Zootopia 2. Okay, Avatar more than likely will probably make over $1 billion, because those movies always make $1 billion. I don't really know why, but they do. Zootopia 2, I do not think is going to make $1 billion. If Lilo and Stitch barely eked out $1 billion, I don't see Zootopia 2 really knocking the socks off at the box office. 4 movies from 4 Disney labels have grossed more than $1 billion in the past 16 months. No other studio has had one in that time frame. So it's staggering to rival studios and deal makers that Disney is looking to blaze new trails after years of being the envy of the town, having counted for so long on sure things from the worlds of Iron Man and the Jedi. Well, you can talk about box office money that it makes, but much of Disney's problem with their movies is they have decent, box office hauls sometimes, but their production budgets are so high that most of the movies that Disney comes out with have to make at least $500 to $600 million to basically break even. This was a very similar thing with Fantastic Four, with all the Marvel stuff, like, if not even higher. So while they have had pretty good success at the box office on a lot of these movies that have come out, not all of these that probably did fairly well at the box office probably were profitable due to the production cost. And so I think that is probably part of it as well. I think they may sense they need to make a shift now, which would be interesting for Disney. Usually they're very reactionary. They could be having a little bit of foresight here, realizing, oh, we need to change up our strategy here because this is not going to age well if this continues down this path. Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed as much on a quarterly earnings call this month, saying his film group won't favor existing IP over original material. The priority, Iger said, is to put out great movies. That would be quite the shift. Also talking about theme parks, everything is IP related. Now, I don't think that is going to happen on the theme park side of things, but you're talking about movies. They're seeing something, and I think you're looking at ticket sales or whatever this is. They're seeing something that has them spooked a little bit to basically go out here saying that we're going to not favor existing IP over original stuff. Because Iger, in the past, has said the exact opposite with very high confidence. Walt Disney Studios declined to provide comment for this story. Much has been written about the narrowing audience for superhero movies. The performance of Marvel's latest release, Fantastic Four: First Steps, which aimed to launch yet another superhero franchise led by Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, failed to meet expectations. That's despite good reviews, a promising opening weekend, and the full attention of Marvel czar Kevin Feige. Star Wars has not produced a film in 7 years. A big screen adaptation of a Disney Plus hit, The Mandalorian, is coming next year. One top film executive at a Disney rival says every studio should be looking for originals, as sequels and reboots continue to exhaust the culture, even if they're packing in moviegoers in the short term. I never thought I'd say it, the exec muses about the Magic Kingdom's boy troubles despite its gem box of iconic IP, but it looks like Disney is going to have to start trying. I mean, it might sound petty of me at this point to say this, and not that I've been doing YouTube for like a super long time talking about these things, but I'm not the only one here, but like, we told you so. Like, you kept going down this path, and I've said this many times. This is almost a great metaphor for Disney overall as a company. As even if you have some success right now and in recent history, there are warning signs on the horizon that if you keep going down this path, you're going to have diminishing returns. You could say the same thing for the theme parks. You could say the same thing for the movies and the shows. But obviously, Disney is seeing something here thinking, oh no, we need to change course. And you would think after the past couple of years, I mean, again, they're the only studio that's really had $1 billion movies that have come out in the past couple of years. So if any studio is kind of hitting the old panic button here, you wouldn't think it would be Disney. But I think they're realizing now, after this year with Marvel, seeing the returns on that, even though Fantastic Four was a better movie than what Marvel has released in the last few years, did not perform well. And whether you want to say it's superhero fatigue, it's bad movie fatigue, whatever way you want to put it, I do think you are seeing a coming to the end of the era of the superhero movie, in that you're just going to have, 5 or 6 superhero movies come out in a year. You're still going to have them exist, but the days in which you're going to have a Guardians of the Galaxy come out of nowhere to almost make $1 billion are probably gone, unless the movie is just fantastic. And you really just can't bank on all of these superhero movies making $1 billion. It is not 2019 any longer. And Hollywood has done this to themselves. And again, they're having a problem reaching Gen Z men. They're having a trouble reaching a younger audience of men. Well, when all your programming, masculinity is bad, toxic masculinity is the worst, and you have a show like, say, Hawkeye, who you think is going to be about Hawkeye, but no, that show is actually about Kate Bishop. And you have a show like Loki, which is not really about Loki. It's about female Loki. And she's the better version of Loki. And so at every turn, every time there are characters and things that men enjoy, they are only to be brought down later on because you can't have a good, strong man in a movie. And they purchased Marvel and Star Wars for a combined over $8 billion because of this very thing. They wanted more properties to reach boys and men. And they bought those properties, and then they tried to turn them into girl brands. Marvel and Star Wars, which there is no way to argue that those are not traditionally brands and IPs that men and boys favor. Reading comic books, watching superheroes, Jedis, and Darth Vader, all these things. They obviously have always had an appeal toward men. And there are women that have enjoyed them as well. But Disney bought these, and they decided we need to change this because we do not like the audience, more specifically about Star Wars. We don't like this audience here. This audience is bad. So we need to change Star Wars. So they went about changing Star Wars. I mean, the Star Wars fan base has been telling Disney for about a decade now that they don't like what they're doing. And instead of hearing that feedback, and I would say most of that coming from men, lifelong Star Wars fans, and upon hearing that feedback, what was Disney's reaction to that? What was Lucasfilm's reaction to that? Attack the audience. Every time there is criticism or pushback on something that Lucasfilm does with Star Wars, you have that studio attacking the fan base, saying that they're racist or they're sexist or they're misogynist or whatever it is. It cannot simply be that we didn't make a good product. It's, no, you're the problem. And now that attitude has brought them to the point now where they've spent over $8 billion to buy these properties that are not performing well now. The future of those is very up in the air. And now they're sitting here going, maybe we need to get original IPs now to get men on board. You had men. You bought franchises that included built-in audiences for those franchises, and you wasted it. You completely wasted it. And now you're like, we need to start from scratch. To say it's kind of funny or ironic is kind of an understatement, because in no situation does a business get combative with their customers that turns out for the better for the most part. I don't know of a situation in where a customer or a group of customers give you feedback about a product that you have, and the business decides that instead of hearing that feedback and maybe updating or making some changes to the product to appease the paying customer base, they instead decide to attack that fan base or those customers and tell them that they're wrong and this is a great product. That wouldn't work if you were selling widgets. That wouldn't work if you were selling cars. That wouldn't work if you were selling anything. So I don't know why Disney or some of these other studios ever thought that this would work in the entertainment sphere either. It's the same thing. You have a paying audience that is paying for a product. And if they don't like your product and they tell you and you don't hear that feedback, they're going to stop going. And you're seeing that in movies now. You have had more than half of the movie-going audience fall off since 2019. And there's lots of reasons for it, but one of them being the movies have not been good. It's funny to me that they're here with this, but it's also simple. Like, this isn't complicated stuff. Taking brands that men historically had loved, and of course, some women also loved those IPs. But guess what? The women who liked those IPs as they were. They don't want you to go changing them. And yet they went and changed them. So then a lot of the men gave you feedback. They were attacked for it, and they're out. They're just like, I don't care anymore. Do whatever you want to do. And that's where I'm at with Star Wars. I don't even care anymore. I can barely watch the original trilogy now. Why'd you spend the $8 billion to buy Star Wars and Marvel? I mean, that was the whole reason you bought it. So essentially, you're back right where you started before you bought Marvel and Star Wars, where you need more content to reach men and boys. Meanwhile, you have a movie like Barbie, who is made for women, and rightfully so. They didn't try to appeal to men for that movie, and it made a bunch of money. Barbie would have been a disaster if they decided we want this to appeal to men and made a Barbie movie for men. Wouldn't have worked there. It doesn't work here on these. And I just think it's funny that now we're at this point where Disney's looking at original IP. Now, I think that they should be looking at that. And I've said for a long time as well, they need to get back to making these types of movies. These simple movies that don't cost that much money, that tell a good story, that are entertaining, and maybe they make $400 to $500 million at the box office, but they only cost you like maybe $90 million. I mean, John Wick movies have a budget somewhere around under or around $100 million, but they'll make $400 million, $500 million at the box office. So they're profitable. It doesn't have to make $1 billion for it to be a success. So getting back to doing things like this, I think, is ultimately a good thing for them. Basically, National Treasure. Those are perfect movies. Just fun adventure movies with some comedy, a little bit of romance maybe. You can do without the romance even. I don't care about the romance. But just having a good time, going on an adventure, just tell a fun story. Not everything has to be a subtext of what's going on culturally or whatever it is. Escapism. That's what movies and entertainment are supposed to be. Get back to that. And if you really want to know what men want, go talk to them. By the way, I'm going to give you a little secret. Men are not difficult to figure out. We're pretty simple. When it comes to movies and entertainment, you want to know why Reacher does so well on Amazon Prime? Because it's a big buff dude who's about justice and basically righteousness. He beats up bad guys. And there are females in that show that are strong females that help him out along the way. But they never undercut Reacher. He is the main character of that story. And in the end, the bad guys lose, Reacher wins, and you move on to the next season. That is a very simple way to make a show. But guess what? It's successful. Superheroes were the same way. I mean, basically, that template can be applied to so many different things that men enjoy. It's not a complicated thing here. It's really not. We'll see what comes of this and if there's any changes in terms of the content that Disney produces, if they're able to do original content. I'm interested in seeing what they're able to produce there. And with any updates on this, we'll let you know on this channel about that. But for now, that is going to be it, though, for this video. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. As well, it's coverage here of theme parks, pop culture, and entertainment. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about all this? And until next time, we will see you later.